All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Giving double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. Just coming back with another lesson. Was sent this video. Well, not this actual video, but was sent a lesson, by the elder Adama out of the Boston camp. The brother Ana of the GMS Atlanta camp. GMS Atlanta camp sent me that particular lesson, and it was very edifying. As well as the brothers, Ana, he did a lesson too. And it was very edifying also. But, this is what's, to come. Everything that's displayed in this trailer, this is where we are. We're in the time of Jacob's trouble. But the thing about it is that, you have these, it's a locky for the background noise. You have these, Edomites, the low-level Edomites, or your average, everyday Edomite, the pride is still upon them. They think it's okay to see, ICE walking the streets, snatching people up, they still holding on. They're still holding on to this American dream. But what they fail to realize is that this American dream is over, man. It's never going back to the way it was. They're still holding on. And to see, people being trodden down, that's the pride of this devil, man. He loves to see a form of victory. Yeah, we still had that pride. This is all about America. This is what these people are portraying it to be about. But in reality, it's all the bidding of the wicked elites. You go to the book of Obadiah, and I think it's verse 3, the pride of thine heart has deceived thee. That's we know the wicked elites will be prideful all the way until the day of destruction. But you average everyday Edomites, you're very prideful too, man. Very prideful. And you got some Jakes that are prideful, which they have absolutely no reason whatsoever to have any form of pride because you don't control anything, man. Whatever this devil say do, you have to do it. Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And Jake is definitely destroyed. Jake, when I say Jake, speaking of the 12 tribes, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, they're holding on to that hope that they still could make a place here, that they still could get rich, that they still doing this, but at the same time, you're low level, man. You got women, I think her name is Ari or something like that. Last week, she said she'll let somebody take a dump on her for like $75,000, man. This is where we are. This is where they are. Speaking of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you so low. Hey, man, it don't get no lower than that, man. It don't get no lower than that, man. I thought, somebody spitting on somebody was low. But to actually let somebody take a dump, I mean, how can you even put a amount of money on that, man? But, soon she'll be humbled. Hey, man, Jacob's trouble is right here. All that money, the jobs, the travel, the women, the Instagram, the Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff, means nothing, man. And you people are going to soon find out. All you content creators, that make money making content, which is crazy. You got people out here doing reviews on movies. You got 1,000 people doing a review on the same movie, man. Back in the day, you had 2 people, Siskel and Ebert, whatever their name was, man. They used to review the movies and tell the people what they thought about the movie. Now Salakia had an interruption come in, but kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah, these people are prideful, man. Jacob's trouble is here. We just getting started. ICE is being spread out across America. Soon martial law will be here. As soon as you people, you protesters, you soon to be labeled as rioters, villains, enemies, whatever they label you as. We're not exempt either. Men out preaching on the highways and hedges, bringing forth these lessons. We're going to be a target also. But the difference is, we have Yahweh Shemi Hawashah on our side, man. We're doing this righteously. We're not out here protesting and rioting or whatever, in the name of saving Babylon the Great. First of all, we're not doing that anyway. We're out preaching the scriptures, man. Telling you people what's to come, which is famine. You can read the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15. It lays it all out. Chapter 16, it lays it all out, what's to come. But the problem is with you people is that you don't believe the scriptures. You think we just making this up. And, unbelief seems to be at an all-time high. But a great humbling is coming, man. A great humbling is coming. And, I can speak for myself as well as other brothers, man. We can't wait. Even though we know it's not going to be easy for us just to see you people being humble, just to see the smile, the laughs, the partying, all this stuff come to a close. It's going to be beautiful, man, because we know we're one step closer to our Lord coming back, and as well as prophecy unfolding right in front of our eyes, man. So, we're just happy to see it. We just ready to get out of here, but we're patiently waiting on our Lord. Patiently waiting on our Lord, and we're right here, man. Once that MOTB, Mark of the Beast, RFID microchip is implemented, hey, man, we know, we're right there at the door, man. So, Lord willing, brothers, all the brothers, sincere brothers can endure to the end. Hey, man, to be able to see this wicked kingdom fall, and our Lord set his kingdom up, man. To be able to be beamed up on a chariot with you ignorant people, people call UFOs. Those are the chariots of the Lord, to be able to see that, to be able to witness that, to be able to be a part of that, is all the more reason to keep going, man. It's all the more reason. We just, hey, man, we're just ready to get out of here, man. We're ready to get out of here. All you people that's consumed with your jobs, consumed with women, consumed with whatever you consume with, man. You know, you got stuff unfolding right in front of your face. People getting shot in the street, but you still got people out here, man, thinking about the Super Bowl. You know, what are we doing for the Super Bowl? You know, what are we doing this summer? Where are we going this summer? You know, we don't even know. You know, we're 1 month in, and you know, hey, this devil has put forth, you know, a whole year's worth of work in, man, within this month. Venezuela, Minnesota, and I'm sure I'm missing something else, but you know, this is where we are, man. Things are moving fast. You know, it seemed like we were just, you know, at the 1st of January. Now it's over with, man. We're at the end of January. So, you know, Yahweh Shem Yahushua has sped the time up. Things are moving fast, you know, and it's beautiful to see, man. So, you know, this was just a quick in transit. You know, Lord willing, I can come back later and, you know, with another lesson. But, you know, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Rekakodash. Shalom.